You never really know. I fully expect this little cub on the road to hunt his siblings. So let's see what happens. They're going to play a game of stalking over there. There we go, there we go. Just exhibiting. Running off to mom. Let me see if this is the young male at the back. Cubs, even at this age, will start to exhibit certain character traits. And that is the young male. So the young male at the back is even now starting to exhibit those character traits that lions are famous for. That fierce independence. Wanting to go their own way, being part of a pride, but definitely being on their own mission. That's a good question that's just come through. Would the young male be more dominant, even like kids at a nursery school? The young males and females will all be around about the same weight and therefore around about the same strength, and they each have equal aggressive or ferocity, I should say. Hello? Even stopped. Babies are obviously not taking the cue to keep quiet. Busy hunting mom. She's carried on moving, so it can't be too much. I did see an impala busy standing watching her just now, but the impala was far away and well aware of the lion. And now I see Mom, it looks like Mom is laying down. Let's see if we can, no, she's still busy moving. Mom is busy watching something in the distance. And there's no doubt. Ah, here's an impala right here. This is the impala I saw a little bit earlier. He is keeping a very low profile. Have a look at that very alert posture. And what's quite funny and atypical to how we found this lioness was he is not giving an alarm call. He's not snorting. But that very, very alert posture that he's got over there. Something is running away in the trees off to our right hand side. I definitely think that there was something watching this lioness. Just going to reverse a little bit. We don't want to lose sight of her. The reason being is that even though she's got cubs after her, she is a single lioness in the bush, and the bush is a big place. And we could very easily just lose her. Lisa's asked me why would she go off with the cubs and not with the others. She might actually be trying to find her sisters and the rest of the pride. Distances, or can cover some immense distances. See, she's now going quite deep into the bush. I'm actually going to see if I can follow her. She's now changed direction. She's not following the road or a path parallel to the road anymore. Watch yourself, Jeandre. So the bush here is quite thick. We're going to try and stick with there without ruining ourselves. So what we're going to do is just try and make sure that this lioness, here we go. She's right in front of us. Couldn't even see her even though she was 10 meters in front of me. Which means that the cubs are literally here. To see what's inside her ears. I can see the one cub. Have a look inside her ear there. She looks to have an ear infection of some sort. Ooh, her ears are in bad condition. Those soft noises that she's making there, those are contact calls. I think she's trying to call her sisters. Feasible for that to happen. You see all the cubs around her feet over there. And that silly Impala is only now giving an alarm call. So we've really been blessed with lion over the last couple of drives, and I can really say that now we've got some lion, but definitely it's not a given that we have lion all the time. Djuma is a fantastic place for large cats though, and while we have lion on the property and we can view them, we're definitely going to try our best to try and stay with them as much as we can. She's just busy listening. She's been in this area for quite some time. I don't know if you can notice, but her one ear is quite lazy, and that's actually as a result of that infection that she's got inside of her ear. Now, although for us that would be debilitating, we'd take all our sick leave to go and get sorted. To her, it doesn't seem to be bothering her too much. Okay, what we're gonna do is so there's a very good chance that we lose these animals going into this drainage line in front of us. But right now it's quite open, and I'm sure that for at least the next couple of minutes we'll be okay to view. I've still got a visual in front of the car. Coming to some thick bush in front of us here. We might have to scrape and scrounge through here, but don't worry too much. can see her in front of us. She's just sitting behind a tree. Cubs are just off onto our left hand side. Now, a good trick of following lions is to look at their ears. If a lion's ears are facing forward and not facing backwards, then you know that for today, this is the right distance to follow, and it changes daily. So while I'm busy driving through the bush, I look at lion's ears, and if the ears are pointing forward like the female's ears are, I know that I'm at the right distance. See, even the cub's ears are pointing forward. We'll notice that black mark that you can see on the back. That's what I'm looking for. We're now approaching the Mlwati, very close to where we actually left these lions yesterday. She's almost walked exactly back there. We're going to stick with her for as long as what we can. Some eroded areas here in front of us. This one Mafazi Ngala and 3 Montwana is now entering the Mlwati close to Twin Dams, Dam Wall, Old Dam Wall. The best approach would be exactly where we left them last night and heading towards the dam. Let's see if we can see them. Look at them. Now I always look at animal behavior. Look at how she's walking. Look at how they're walking. At some point in the future of this program, you're definitely going to be tracking lions in sand like that, where you'll be following their footprints. Have a look at that hippo path or game path that she used. I'm picturing in my mind exactly what she's doing. Mafazi Ngala, she's crossed the Mlwati straight towards Twin Dams. I'm going to be making my way around. So she's now gone up to the dam. I'm going to be making my way around. There's no way for me to access the dam where we are now, unfortunately. So we're going to take a bit of time to actually get out of here and go around. So for now, I'm going to be driving around. It's going to take us a few minutes to drive around. So we won't be able to show you lions for now, while I just make my way back to the road and all the way around, but hopefully. As soon as we can relocate or find you something else, we will. See you in a bit.
So guys, welcome back. I hear you've been having an amazing time following the Styx cubs. Aren't they simply adorable? So while you guys were with Steph, I've been trying to track this leopard. He's disappeared off into quite a thick block. So what I'm doing is just looping around. Just as I was coming through past the drainage line, all of the birds started going crazy on the other side. So I'm trying to loop back around and just see what's happening on that side. It sounds, they called for a while but stopped fairly quickly. So if it is him, he is potentially moving fairly quickly. quickly through this block. So maybe we get lucky and he pops out on the road. Otherwise, I'm gonna hop off and do a little bit of walk, explore this new area. But while I was on my way, I got distracted by one lone little hyena. He was lying in the sun warming up, possibly digesting quite a big meal, a nice full stomach. But he moved off as well into the drainage line. Maybe, possibly, because he caught wind of that leopard, or possibly because it was on its way back to the den. For leopard traps, Donna from Canada would like to know what my favorite critter is. Now that is a very, very difficult question, and it's a very good question, and one I get asked very often, and it's one that I always struggle to answer. I do have an incredibly soft spot for elephants. I really love them, but probably for me personally, the rhino is my favorite animal. I always associate them with my very first love of the bush. I was very little when I was first introduced to a rhino orphanage in Lapalala, and I would say that's probably one of my favorite animals, but then it very much depends on my mood. As I was saying yesterday, about something, sitting in amongst an elephant herd invariably calms me down. But then also my favorite predator, difficult one, probably a hyena. Spotted hyena are fascinating. I love their dynamics. And then I also have quite a soft spot for honey badgers, which is a wonderful little black and white badger that is very feisty for its size. I think they're fascinating. I think they're really very interesting little animals, and I admire their courage and spirit. So I can't actually give you a specific favorite animal. I sort of have top lists, but I am very fond of everything out here. Even this herd of beautiful Impala that we have on our right, which I'm going to try and just So I'm just going to try and shift around so we can see them better in the morning light. Still not picking up on the leopard tracks, and I think these guys would let us know if he was in the vicinity, unless he's sneaking up on them. So they are fairly well tucked away in here, but a nice herd of and they are truly beautiful antelope. So they're still, at this stage, they are still just coming out of their rutting season, so their breeding season. For any new viewers, that happens during around May and June, and there's still a little bit of residual hormones going around. The males are still occasionally making their very strange grunting sound. Large bachelor groups, as opposed to mixed herds with breeding herds and males. So just after these guys started to rut, so there will be most of the females in this area, almost all of them, because Impala have a very, very high success rate in terms of fertilization. So all the females in this area will be pregnant, and come sort of end of November, December, it changes from area to area, but around then all of the females will start dropping their lambs. But we're not starting to see any signs of pregnancy yet. That will only be much towards the end, so sort of just before they drop, the females start looking incredibly uncomfortable and rather large and a bit stiff, and they do carry very large bellies. And it's also always amazing to see how they manage to synchronize their births to within a couple of days of each other. And what I noticed that was quite interesting where I was working last year around the Impala lambing season was that sure, but the Impala births weren't as synchronized as they usually are. I'm not sure, I think it might be connected to the rainfall, but usually, typically, we see them sort of within 3 days of each other. All of the lambs have been born, wandering around in little creches. But this year it was a little bit different. There were some very late lambs born, and I suspect that might have been due to the feeding quality and the dryness of the area. However, the fact that these guys are so relaxed and not jumping around or barking at all, giving off that very distinctive alarm call that Impala used to help us find things like leopard, I suspect that that leopard is still in the block off to the left of me, possibly in the big drainage line. Judging by his tracks, he was walking fairly rapidly. They were very, very fresh tracks, but he was very much on the move and not at a sedate pace. His back track was falling far in front of his front track, which tells me that he was walking at quite a speed. Fast-paced walk up this hill. So what I'm going to do now is just turn off towards this area, which is roughly around where we heard the alarm calls coming from. So somewhere just ahead of me here in the drainage line, I'm hoping that he's still hanging around in that area. So guys, while I'm attempting to find out which way our leopard has gone, it does look like a youngish male, possibly Tingana. I'm not too familiar with the size of his tracks just yet, but it does make sense for the area that we're in. But while I attempt to find out what he's been up to and whereabouts he is, I'm actually going to send you back to Steph, who has wound up in exactly the same place where he left the cubs last night at the water hole. So hopefully he's got something wonderful to show you guys on that side.
Hello everybody. Oh, welcome back. And I must say, we got to the water and the lioness had already drunk. Took us a bit of time to get out of the bush, and now I from, to be honest. Shouldn't take us too long to get into this position again. She's now come back onto the sand. And we should be in. Let's see. Somewhere here. There we go. Got it. So Roy has just asked us, how do cubs know how to stay? Yes, her ears look bad. And how to stay on there and quiet when mom's not around. And Roy, it's just simple evolution. Cubs that move around and make a noise and draw attention for themselves don't live long enough to become adults, and therefore don't live long enough to make babies that are boisterous when mom is not there. So it's literally just as a function of survivability. Cubs that have learned this survival technique over the years, over the eons, have managed to survive into adulthood, and they are the ones that pass that particular behavior trait through their genes onto their children, and so on and so forth. Have a look at these cubs just playing in the sand. I mean, we're actually very, very, very blessed to see this. They haven't stopped playing since mom found them. Now, close on an hour ago. So Kelly in Milwaukee, hello Kelly, has asked me, and this is literally just a shot in the dark, I suppose. If a bachelor herd of Impala had to find these cubs, would something as timid as an Impala, or something that is so defenseless against a full-grown lion, such as an Impala, would it take or to eliminate the cubs? I don't think that would be the case for Impala, and I also don't think it's as silly a question as what you think it is, Kelly, because most things would eliminate lion competition when they can. And these cubs are defenseless. A male Impala would actually be very capable of killing these cubs. However, I also think that Impala are a little bit too far down the food chain to tackle even a lion cub. However, it's feasible. I can't disagree with. I can't say yes and I can't say no. I think it's definitely unlikely, highly unlikely, but feasible. I think it would be the answer to my question. I mean, these cubs at the moment are just having a ball of a time. Mom's back from wherever she was. Too much energy. Have a look at that stalking chick. Oh, there we go. Swatting. That's all just playing, but it's also practicing for the skills that they're going to have to hone over the years to come, and they need to do it pretty quick. By 1.5 years old, female lions are and need to be active members of the pride. They need to help bring food to the table. So they don't have that long to practice all these skills. And that's why we start seeing these skill enactments from young. That is just... Here we go, there we go. Boom. And again. The Lioness last night. She's not even 40 yards from where we left her last night, even though we found her a good kilometer away from where we are now this morning. She's busy cleaning herself. I'm still worried about her ears. They are looking shocking. And you are welcome to try and find out what that actually is as well. So Dory has expressed some concern. Thank you, Dory. I'm just as concerned as what you are about the lioness potentially losing some hearing in her ear. And I think it's possible if the infection is not brought under control. However, as with most wild animals, they're actually quite resilient to the effects of disease, and given the fact that they are healthy and in a good ecosystem and with enough food around, generally speaking, they bounce back. Their bodies are able to bounce back, and with very little side effects. So while it might look a bit painful right now, her ear's hanging and she may be a bit deaf right now, I don't think it's having too much effect. Ooh, jump on mom. However, I am going to be phoning a vet friend of mine who's been dealing with lions today, and I'm going to be finding out from them what it could possibly be. Of course, you're welcome to help me, and I'd welcome the help. It's always good to have some help, and with the world's information at your fingertips, perhaps you could even have an answer before the end of game drive for us. And I'll share it with everybody. Oh, these cubs, you just don't know where to look, to be quite honest with you. Every time you focus on one, another one does something amazing. Have a look at the one stalking. He's got instinct to go for the throat. Very, very happy little lion cubs. Now, for those new to the show, you are welcome to send me some questions using the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or you can email your questions to questions@wildearth.tv, and we will try and get through as many as what we can. So don't be shy, and please don't worry. And equally so, don't feel that you could ask a silly question. There are no such things. We're all here to learn from one another, and I definitely learn something new every day. Just yesterday we had one of our viewers in live. So I learned something new yesterday. And females giving another contact call. Penny Pine and Angie, good morning, have asked two linked questions, which I find quite interesting. The one is, would another lion's saliva actually help the lioness? And linked to that would be, are there any medicinal plants out here that the lion could eat to help her ear infection? I must be honest that I don't think so. Other than just scraping away action that are actually cleaning the wound. Lion don't have any, well, anything except bacteria on their tongues. But there's no medicinal properties or healing properties in saliva. And also, medicinal plants require, for their compounds to be unlocked, require the breakdown of or the protozoans. Have a look at. I'll finish the question now, but have a look at these two hunting one another. Whoa, there. And straight for the neck bite. Oh man, this is a treat. So to finish the question, lions don't have the bacterial, the protozoan in their digestive tract, which will actually allow them to break down cellulose. So eating of the plants won't do much. If they could perhaps crush the plants down and apply it as a poultice, or infuse the plants and make it as an eardrop, that might do some damage, but they can't do that. So for everyone to assume, why don't we just call a vet and help the lions? We need to remember that this is the natural thing, and lions do get sick, and sometimes they do die. It needs to happen in the bush. Mother Nature here has a balance that she's established over the millennia, and one of the mistakes humans make is to try and intervene too soon. We get so fixated on the single animal. Watch what this young lion is doing, the one on the left-hand side. Have a look at that. I don't know if you noticed. Let's see if he does it again. There was some urine there on the floor, that wet patch, that slightly discolored patch. And this lion, even as young as what it is, exhibited the Flehmen grimace. Oh, have a look at him. He's here killing mom's tail. Here we go. And killing it again. And killing it again. You have my empathy. I don't know how you do it. Not only lion moms, but human mothers as well. All you mommies watching out there, I must be honest with you, hats off. So coming back to that little lion, he exhibited the Flehmen grimace, which is an action you see adult lions do when they open glands in the roof of their mouth and they pass scent over them. These glands are super packed with sensory or olfactory glands, which allow them to correctly determine hormonal status and a number of other things. And that young cub definitely flared those glands. I don't actually know enough about the physiology of these glands to tell you whether or not they're active or even how active they are in cubs this young. You generally only see that behavior with sub-adult and adult lion. This is the first time I've ever seen a cub do it at this age. Oh, look at that. That was another just hunting technique there. That one cub that was on top of the bank was using elevation on the side of a game path. Let's see if he jumps down here. Let's see. He's gonna go. Chicken. Once again, flattening themselves. I mean, it's like we're watching hunt after hunt after hunt here without the blood and gore. Have a look how camouflage that young cub is there in that grass. Perfect coat matching the grass color this time of year. Oh, where are you going? That's the young male cub. Also, just trying to make sure that they're using the lay of the land over there. Oh, here we go. Let's see if this time there was some more brave pulls. Of the bank here towards us. Now getting to that point where they're just that little bit too far away from mom. I'm expecting them to come rushing back again. There we go. Hi there, Dory. You asked me a question. At what age could we expect to see one lioness dominant over another? And Dory, within a litter like this, there won't be any dominance structures. They will be mates and equal on equal standing. There we go. And hunting. Pronounced dominance play or hierarchies developing amongst litter mates, not even amongst the pride members. Generally the pride members all are together. There won't be one lioness that will be more dominant than another, and equally so out of the male lions there also won't be more one. There won't be one lion more dominant than the other either. They sort that out right now where we're in this phase. It's not like hyena or elephant, even buffalo. So Dave in Toronto, hey Dave, have asked, will lion cubs mimic adult lions' behavior, or are some of the things that they do instinctive? And I must be honest, I think it's a bit of both, Dave. I've seen them mimic what mom does, especially when they get a bit older and they start learning how to hunt. But So hi Tammy from all the way from Washington, or Washington State, Toronto I should say. As asked, will the ear infection taint her milk, or could it even result in her death if it's allowed to carry on? Tammy, I don't think it'll taint her milk. That's got a lot to do with her general health and well-being. It might be affected by her condition dropping as a result of her body just trying to fight off the infection. I don't think the exact infection is going to do much to her milk. I see that her ear is hanging. I don't see it being too swollen. It's very red and raw and bleeding on the inside of the ear. And still look after their babies, still survive. The moment I'm mildly concerned about what it is, it's more inquisitive than anything else. The first sign that we'll get that she's actually being negatively affected by this, or very negatively affected by this ear infection, would be the fact that she'd abandoned her cubs. So she hasn't done that yet. She's still in very good condition. Now,
Hello everyone. Being out in the bush and being out there live has its technical challenges. We're experiencing some of that now, and
So, I'm sorry about cutting out like that. There was a bit of a low battery and we didn't want to change. Used to. So please excuse us for that. But in the interim, she stood up and she moved a couple of meters down the riverbed. I'm sure it was just in response to the cubs getting a little bit too boisterous with her. And into deeper shade. There wasn't too much sun going on where she was, but look at that little cub over there. I don't know what he's doing. Eyes. He's having a wee. And in response to me asking for some information about the ear infection before I get back from game drive, Jeandre in Illinois has given us and provided us with a potential diagnosis. And I must say thank you so much for that. So here we go. Here's the hypothesis or the prognosis. So a hair buildup, A, or an injury to the ear could cause that red, raw, swollen look that we're seeing at the moment. And licking seems to help it. So her sisters licking the ear will clear up the infection and clear out the hair, and with no other obvious side effects. So, well, that looks a bit rough. I must say, she doesn't look like she's been injured, like she's been kicked on the side of the head. I must say that out of the two, I would probably say that a hair buildup or some blockage is the most likely cause from what I can see where I am. And it looks like licking clears it up. The rough tongues of these lions clear it up. I'm actually going to move my vehicle a little bit. We've got some grass in our way. I'm sure that that's creating a little bit of a distraction. So if you give me 2 seconds. Shot for you. And that should allow us. It's a slightly more elevated position that we were in, and that should allow us some better view of what these cubs. They still look so full of energy. Bree has asked an interesting question. Are there any obvious differences between lions in an open system and in a closed system? Bree, I'm going to throw a curveball here before I actually answer the closed systems as of a year or two ago. Lions only occur in protected systems, and their numbers are drastically reducing. It's a huge conservation topic at the moment about what to do about the rapidly declining lion populations across Africa. Some estimate that there are fewer than 25,000 lions left in Africa, which is less even than the rhino population in the Kruger National Park. So there's a curveball for you. Give everyone a cause for concern. Lions are in need of some protection. But system battle to maintain their genetic depth. And so what happens in a closed system is new males or new blood will have to be added from time to time. And I'm talking about smaller game reserves and smaller conservation areas, as I would determine a closed system. An open system, per definition, is where wild stock or wild genes that have nothing to do with the pedigree of that, still have vast areas or vast protection areas. Where lions have occurred forever. And the gene pool is still very rich and very diverse in these areas. So I hope that answered your question. It was a little bit of a roundabout way. Now what happened over there was we're lying actually quite close to our southern boundary, and a car passed that wasn't a game drive car. And you immediately saw that those cubs playing stopped and they moved into the grass to hide. Oh, have a look at that. And now they're coming back out of the grass once that car moved on. Just goes to show, just when you start thinking that these lions see all vehicles as one thing, just a slight change in the color of a car their territory. So Dr. Debbie, hey Debbie, you've given us another option to consider here, and that ear mites may have caused this, as she has seen ear mites in domestic cats cause the similar symptoms to what we're seeing, and it's absolutely feasible, Debbie. I can't see why it wouldn't be feasible in actual fact. Now, I'm going to be getting a little bit closer to these cubs than usual, and the reason for that is that I don't want them to play on this main road. Cars travel down here sometimes at speed, and I want them to get off the road. So it does mean that I have chased them off the road a little bit, and it also means that they are moving across our southern boundary, and this is about where we are going to lose them. We can't go where they're walking. It's one of those things. All life has boundaries, and we've just reached a physical boundary of where we can traverse at this time. Another question came up in which I wasn't probably clear. How do I know that the cubs were born 800 meters directly in front of this lioness's nose? Well, as you've noticed today, that when there's a decent network of field guides around, there is the chance that we see what is going on, or we know what is going on, at least either from tracks or from actually seeing these animals. And lioness that have cubs return to a same place. They're almost like the spokes of a wheel. They'll move to and from dens, looking for food, joining their families, going for water. And trackers here have a very keen idea of when this starts happening, when they start witnessing this phenomenon, either in tracks or by watching the behavior of lions. And we predicted where her cubs were, and it wasn't too long after that prediction that they were seen by the guides of the property that this lioness is walking in right now. And that's how we knew where her cubs were born. They're just walking down the riverbed. That lioness was making some contact calls, her ears perked up, and she immediately started to move. So I have no doubt that she heard someone, one of her pride mates, answering that contact call, and she's now making her way to them for the day. But have a look at that dappled light in the riverbed. It's just beautiful. So Blair in British Columbia, all the way in Canada, wow, and that's far away from here, has asked, has the cubs exhibited any social grooming behavior yet? And that's absolutely, Blair. They will groom one another. Once they stop playing with one another, they'll take some time to groom one another. Not only will the adults groom the cubs, but the cubs will groom one another. It's called allo grooming, and it's a very important part of the social structure and establishing social bonds. And there they go. They've just bounded away around the corner. I can't see them anymore. Jeandre, can you see them? Jeandre's still got some view, so he's still going to have them for a couple of minutes. But I must say, before they leave us, we were really blessed with that sighting. It has been a very long time since I've had such playful cubs in a sighting for so long. And in such good light. Really blessed out here at Juma and everything.